Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good day, good afternoon, Bapak dan Ibu.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
Good day,
warahmatullahi
Miss.
wabarakatuh. Good day, Miss Hana.
Okay. How is everything? Having lunch yet?
Yes, I have already had lunch.
Oh, alhamdulillah.
Ma'am, what about you?
Yes, I did. Alhamdulillah. Pecel. My menu is pecel. Okay. We are still waiting for others to join. It should be around, what is it? How many? 29 participants. Okay. And the presenters, are you ready now, Bapak presenters? Because I see that group 2, the presenters are ini Bapak ya, Bapak Hikmatiar Hakim, Bapak Muhammad Ibnu, dan Bapak Zaini.
Yes, Miss, I'm here.
Okay. And we are going to discuss the topic is assessing receptive skill. Receptive skill includes listening and reading. Okay. The nature or the definition, what is listening, what is reading, the process in reading and listening activities, and then the micro and micro skills of those skills. And then if we want to assess these skills, the text types, and what are the text type if we want to assess these skills. Bapak-bapak, are you ready?
Let me try to share the PPT.
Okay, so the screen and time yours now.
Okay. Baik, Nu. Pak Zaini, are you here?
Yes,
Okay.
here.
Wait, let me share the screen again. Okay, can all of you see the presentation now?
It's good on me. It's working. Good.
Okay, thank you.
All good.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, good afternoon, Miss Hana. And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are from Group 2, and our topic is assessing students' listening skills. Okay, let me repeat. So our topic is assessing students' listening skills and reading skills. In this group, we have Bapak Ibnu, and then we have Bapak Zaini, and I am Hikmatiar, and you can call me Tiar, actually. Okay. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Yeah, the table of contents. In this presentation, we will explain 9 things. The first one is the nature of listening and listening assessment, and then the micro and macro skills in listening. test types in listenings, and then sample of test types in listening. Number 5 is the nature of reading and reading assessment, micro and macro skills in reading, test types in reading, samples of test types in reading, and the lesson will be listening test and reading using technology. Okay. For the first part will be explained by Bapak Zaini. The time is yours now, Pak. Are you here, Pak? Just check. Pak Zaini. Hello. I'm not mute, right? Oh, Pak Zaini.
Oh, no.
Pak Zaini, you need to respond now.
Stop. Sorry, wait a minute. Yes, it's for nature.
Ah, okay.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, I'm sorry for coming late a bit for prayer zuhur just now. Today we will going to present about the assessment of listening. I'm sorry. Wait a minute. The nature of listening and language assessment. Okay. The nature of listening. Listening is the cognitive process whereby we attach meanings to oral signals. It's the active intellectual process of decoding and evaluating message. Okay, please, sir. And listening assessment. Listening is a skill which is overrated. However, we don't have to forget that our ability to speak is closely related to our ability to listen. There are the different aspects that you should pay attention when assessing listening. These factors can be called types of listening performance. Okay, the first is intensive, and the second is responsive, and the third selective, and the fourth extensive. Okay, the next is about micro and macro skills in listening. Okay, there are some points that consist in micro skills. The first is discriminate among the distinctive sounds of English. And the second, retain chunks of language of different length in short-term memory. And the third, recognize English stress patterns, words in stressed and unstressed positions, rhythmic structure, intonation counters, and their role in signaling information. The fourth, recognize the reduced forms of words. The fifth, distinguish word boundaries, recognize the core of words, and interpret word order, patterns, and their significance. The sixth, process speech at different rates of delivery. The seventh, process speech containing pause, errors, corrections, and other performance variables. Eighth, recognize grammatical word classes, such as noun, verbs, etc. System like tense, agreement, pluralizations, patterns, rules, and elliptical forms. The ninth, detect sentence constituents and distinguish between major and minor constituents. Number 10, recognize that a particular meaning may be expressed in different grammatical forms. And 11th, recognize cohesive devices in spoken discourse. Okay, the next is micro skill. It's about micro skill listening. Oh, wait a minute. Micro skill listening. The first, recognize cohesive devices in spoken discourse. The second, recognize the communicative functions of utterances according to the situation, participants' goals. In first situation, participants goal using real-world knowledge. It's in pragmatic competence. And the fourth, from events, ideas, etc., described predict outcomes, infer links and connections between events, deduce causes and effects, and detect such relations such as main idea, supporting idea, new information, given information, generalization, and exemplification. The fifth, distinguish between literal and implied meanings. The sixth, use facial, kinetic, body language, and other nonverbal cues to decipher meanings. And the seventh, develop and use a battery of listening strategies, such as detecting keywords, guessing the meaning of the words from context, appealing for help, and signaling comprehension or lack thereof. Okay, for the next chapter will be uh, provided and will be delivered by Mr. Ibnu Alikbal. The time is yours.
Well, thank you, Mr. Zaini. On the next slide, I will explain about the task type in listening. Well, next slide. I will explain the more specific and more details about intensive listenings in the second or third slide. Intensive listening for perception of the components, phonemes, words, intonation, discourse makers, etc. of a larger stretch of language. The third seconds responsive listening. Responsive listening, a relatively short stretch of language, such as a greeting. You have to make a greetings, questions, comment, comprehension, check, etc. in order to make an equal short response. Next, a selective listening. In selective listening, that means processing threads of discourse such as a short monologue for several minutes in order to scan for certain information. Unless the extensive listenings to develop a top-down, a global understanding of the spoken language. Extensive performance runs from listening to lengthy lecture to listen a conversation. Well, next slide. The samples of the tasks type in listening. In the sample of the task type in listening, one, you have determined objectives. Your next step is to design the tasks, including making decisions, how elicits performance, and how you will expect the test taker to respond. The tasks that range from intensive listening performance, such as a minimal phoneme or phonemic the recognitions, to extensive comprehensions of language in communication contexts. And then the first designing assessments is a recognizing phonological and morphological elements. For example, when you want to make assessing listening, such as a phonemic and a morphological, you can see the examples phonemic assessing listening. There are two persons. Look at the picture. The test taker here and the test taker read. For example, is from California. The test as a teacher, test taker as teacher, you make assessing or a test for your students that is such as a phonemic or morphological. You have to consonants the the consonants and phoneme. For example, he's from California, and then the test taker reads the answer A, B, C. For example, he's from California or she's from California. That's a phonemic pair consonant. The second example is phonemic pair vowels. The test taker here and the test taker read. The test taker here is he living? And the test taker read to answer the questions and like a multiple choice. A, is he living? Or B, is he living? You have to make a difference word vowels. Yeah. In the both case, a minimal phonemic distinctions are the largest. If you are testing recognition or morphological, you can use the same format. Phonemic and morphological use the same format. Okay, the test taker, you as a teacher, make a morphological test listening. The test taker here, I miss you very much. The test taker read A and B, I miss you very much, and I miss you very much. You have to make a difference verb. For example, A, I miss you very much. Use the past past tense, and the B you use another verb like a simple tense. Hearing the past tense morpheme in this sentence challenge even advanced learner, especially if no context provides. Stress and unstressed words may also be tested with the some rubric. Stress pattern in can. The test taker here, my girlfriends can't go to the party. The test taker reads, my girlfriend can't go to the party. My and B, my girlfriends can go to the party. Because they contextuals, this kind of the text leaves something to desire in their authenticity. And then one word stimulus. The test taker here, fine or wine. And then next, the paraphrase recognition. The next step up, the scale of listening comprehension. Micro skill listening is word, phrase, and sentence. And the paraphrase recognitions, you have to categorize the sentence phrase and dialect phrase. Test taker here and the test taker read, hello, my name's Keiko. I come from Japan. The test taker read, it's the more multiple choice A, B, C, D. Keiko is comfortable in Japan. Keiko wants to come to Japan. Keiko is Japanese, and Keiko likes Japanese. That's the sentence paraphrase. Next is dialogue paraphrase. Involve the idiomatic come from is the phrase being tasted. Now the dialogue. You have to make a dialogue and make an answer a multiple choice. The test taker and the test taker read. Man, hi Maria, my name is George. Nice to meet you, George. Are you American? No, I am Canadian. Test taker reads, George live in the United States. B, George is American. C, George come from Canada. And D, Maria is Canadian. That designed a dialogue and sentence paraphrase or make listening assessments. Next, a design and a responsive listening. Next slide. Okay. In the design responsive listening, an examples of a responsive listening, the assessment, uh, the category of the responsive listening assessment or assessing. What's the appropriate response a question? For example, test taker here and test taker read. How much time did you take to do your homework? A, in about an hour. B, about an hour. C, about $10. And D, yes, I did. There's distractor are chosen to represent common learner errors. Responding follow much versus how too much versus how too much longer. And the confusing how much in reference to time versus the more frequent reference to money. And D, confusing a question with yes or no question. That's a symbol of a responsive listening. The multiple choice can be offer more open-ended framework in which test taker write or speak the response. For example, on open-ended response to questions, test taker and test taker write or speak. For example, how much time did you take to do your homework? And then the answer use write, take test taker write or speak. Next slide. If open-ended response format gains a small amount of authenticity and creativity, as a teacher, you must then read student response and judge their appropriateness. And next, design assessment and example tasks of selective listening. A third type of listening performance is selective listening, in which the test taker listen to limited quantity of oral input. For example, look at the picture. A listening clues. In listening clues, the test taker here, ladies and gentlemen, I know have some connecting get information for those of you making connection to order flights out of San Francisco. Flight 706 or to Portland will depart from gate 73 at 9:30 p.m. Flight 1045 to Reno will depart at 9:50 p.m. to gate the 17. Flight 440 to Monterey will depart at 9:35 p.m. from gate 60, and the flight 1603 to Sacramento will depart from gate 19 at 10:15 p.m. The test taker write the missing words or press fill in the blank. And if you want to make a listening close, yes, you have underlines the words, missing words, or press in the blank. Listening close text, sometimes called close dictation or partial dictations, require the test taker to listen a story like a monologue or conversation and simultaneous read the written text in which selected words or phrase you have been deleted. Next, information transfer. No, back, rewind. Okay, information transfer. An information transfer technique in which orally processed information must be transferred to visual representations such as a labeling, a diagram, identifying an element in the picture, completing form, or showing routes on a map. Yes, that designing the examples of designing information transfer. For example, the test taker here chosen the correct picture in my backyard. I have a bird feeder. Yesterday there was two birds and a squirrel fighting for the last few seats in the bird feeder. The squirrel was on the top of the bird feeder while the larger bird sat at the bottom of the feeder, screaming at the squirrel. The smaller bird was flying around the squirrel, trying to scare it away. The test taker see and answer. Who is the logical picture that correlated in the story that the test taker here. Next, and the last, the extensive listening. Designing assessment type extensive listening. First, can listening performance be distinguished from cognitive processing factors such as memory, association, storage, and recall? Second, as assessment procedure become more communicative, does the task taker into account test taker ability to use grammatical expectancies, lexical, semantic, and interpretation? Are test tasks themselves correspondingly content valid and authentic? And last, as assessment tasks become more and more open-ended, they more closely uh, resemble pedagogical tasks. For example, in extensive listening, detection listening text. Detection is widely researched genre of assessing listening comprehension. In a dictation, test taker here, a patient typically 50 to 100 words recite 3 times. First, the sample of detection, first reading, natural speech, no pause, no test taker, listen for 3 minutes. And the second reading, slow speed, pause at each break, then test taker write. For example, the first reading, the state of California was many geographical areas, and all on the western side in the Pacific Ocean with the beach and the sea life. No pause in here. When you the speaker read the text, no pause, and the test taker listen. The seconds reading, more slow speed, pause, and in the middle you pause it. For example, the state of California has many geographical areas. On the western side, in the Pacific Ocean, and every single sentence you pause it and more reading slowly. And next, communicative stimulus response task. Another and more authentic example of extensive listening is found a popular genre of assessment, in which test taker is presented with stimulus monologue or conversation and then asked to respond to set of a comprehension question. Is the dialogue and multiple choice comparison item. Look at the picture. There are a dialogue and add a multiple choice. Next, out in next slide, Mr. Hikmat here. Okay, next slide, the nature of reading and reading assessments. The nature of reading. Reading so naturally normal that learners should be exposed written text with no particular instruction. In foreign language learning, reading is likewise a skill that teaches simple expect learner to acquire basic beginning level textbook in foreign language presuppose a student reading ability, if only because it's a book that medium most format tests use the written words as stimulus for the test taker response. Next slide. And reading assessments. Reading ergotally the most essential skill for success in all education. The reading assessment ability does not end with the measurement of comprehension. Strategic pathway of full understanding are often important factor to include in assessing learner, especially in this case of most classroom assessment that are formative in nature. Next slide. Micro and macro skills in reading. There are seven micro skills for reading comprehension as discriminate among the distinctive, and second, the retain chunks of language of different length in short-term memory. Third, processing writing at the efficient rate of speech, suit the purpose. Fourth, recognize a core of words and interpret word order, pattern, and their significance. Five, recognize grammatical word classes like noun, verb, etc. And six, recognize that the particular meaning may be expressed in different grammatical forms. Seven, recognize a cohesive device in written discourse and their role in signaling the relationship between and among clauses. Next, macro reading skills for comprehension. First, recognize the rhetorical form of written discourse and their significance for interpretation. Recognize the rhetoricals, you speak rhetoricals and forms written discourse. Recognize the communicative function of written text according form and purpose. Three, infer context that is not explicit by using background knowledge. Four, from describe event ideas, infer links and connection between events and deduce cause and effects and detect such relations as a main idea, supporting idea, new information, give information, the relation, and exemplification. Five, distinguish between literal and implied meanings. Six, detect culturally specific reference and interpret them in a context, the appropriate cultural schemata. And the last and seventh, develop and use a battery reading strategies such as scanning and skimming, detecting discourse maker, guessing the meaning of words from context, and activating schemata for the interpretation of text. Thank you. That's my explanation. Now, the next presentation will be presented by Sir Mr. Hikmatia. Please welcome.
Okay, thank you for the explanation, Pak Ibnu. Okay, for the next part, I will be the one who explain it. I'm trying to explain it in English, but if I have difficulties to explain some of the things, I will try to use Bahasa Indonesia as well. So all of you could get my point or my explanation. Okay, the number 7 is the test types in readings. Okay, same like in the listening. Okay, we have 4 types of reading. The first one is perceptive, the second one selective, the third one is the interactive reading, and the last one it's extensive reading. I put a little bit explanation for it, but to put it in simply, according to my understanding from the book, usually it's for the level. Perceptive reading usually for the beginner level. Selective reading the intermediate or the medium. Interactive is also the intermediate and the medium. Extensive reading usually for the expert level. How did I get this conclusion? Because in perceptive reading, the text that you get, it's like a letter, a word, and then you learn about the punctuation. And in the selective reading, you will get short sentences, and then you also have to matching some texts, answering some question true or false, and then multiple choices. In interactive reading, you will get, like in the explanation, you get several paragraphs to one page or more. In the extensive reading, you will get more than one page. It could be articles, essays, technical report, short stories, and or even a book itself, the whole book. I hope it's clear. Yeah. So perceptive reading is usually for the beginner level, because you learn the letter, the words, and the understanding of the words. Then selective readings becomes longer, short sentences, true or false, multiple choices. And then the interactive one is getting longer. You get several paragraphs in one page. And the last one, the extensive, you will get much more longer texts, like essays, short stories, and books. Okay, that's the types of the reading assessment. I hope you understand my explanation. Okay, the next one will be the samples of task types in reading. Okay, before we jump into the assessment itself, the example, some of the assessment could be assessed in other skills. Reading, just like Ms. Hannah said, is a receptive skills, right? So you have to read, and then in response, usually you use speaking skills or writing skills. So some of this assessment, there are you could assess another skills. So the tricky part that you have to make sure that our assessment for reading is actually assessing the reading skills for the students. Okay. Now for the perceptive reading. Actually, it's a simple one. For the first one, reading aloud. So the teacher. Bu Erlita, please unmute Bu Erlita. It's okay, Bu. Okay, for the perceptive reading, the simple one. So the teacher give the students a couple of letters or a couple of words or short sentences, and then the students will read them aloud. Just like I said before, it's a speaking skills, right? They read aloud the short sentences or the words, and then the teacher should check whether they understand the words that they say, or did they read it correctly. That's for reading aloud. And then for the written responses, it's the same thing. Teacher gives some text, letter, or short sentences, and then the students have to read it and then write it. If the previous one you have to say it out loud, the second one you should write it. In here, you also the students also showing the writing skills. If the students make mistakes, the teacher should know the reason behind why they make those mistakes. Is it they have problem in the writing skills, or do they have problems in the reading skills? Yeah, according to the book. Okay. Okay, and then the next one is multiple choices. Because the perceptive reading, it's usually for the beginner level. There are simple way to do the multiple choices. You don't have to use four choices directly. You can use like this, same or different. You give several words, and then the students have to choose between those words. Is it the same or different? If they think that the word is the same, they should circle the S, means the same. If it is different, they circle the D for different. For example, let and let. Is it different or same? And then the students will circle it, etc. And then you can have another way. Uh, you have three words: peace, peace, and peace. And then you have to circle the word that doesn't belong or the unusual one. In here we have peace, damai in here. And the second one we have book, book, and boot. The one it doesn't belong is the boot one. And so the students should answer, circle it, which word it doesn't belong in with the other words. Okay, next one. Picture cute items. So in here, the students will get a picture, and then the teacher also provide a card or card containing words. In the example, the students get the cat, clock, and chair, and then they read the word in the card, and then they should point in the picture which one is the word that they get in the picture. For example, they get cat, and then they have to point the cat in the picture. That one part, the one under the table, the clock, or the one that hang on the wall, the chair, etc. Something like that. And then it could also given in a card in a short sentences. For example, the man is reading a book, and then the students have to point it again. Which one is the man is reading a book? And then they point it. The cat is under the table. Which one? Which part of the picture that showing the cat is under the table? And then the next one, still picture cute true, but this one using true or false based on the picture that they get. Is it true the pencil are under the table? When they read that one and then they process it and they take a look at the picture, is it true? If they understand the writing, if they could read very well, they could answer it, oh, it's true or it's false. The cat is on the table. Is it true? If they have a good reading ability, they could answer it, circle it, just like the usual. Okay. Nah, for this one, it's still the picture, yeah. So we use the same picture, the first one, this one. Now for that one, but for this type of assessment, you have to put the letter A, B, C until E in the picture. That's showing which one is the clock. The clock have the A, the chair have the B. You need to put the some of the letters so the students will write it. Oh, the clock is the A, the chair is the E, etc. Then the last one for the picture cute items is the normal multiple choices. So you have short sentences or words, and then you have multiple choices of a picture, and then you have to choose which one is showing the word that have been given before. For example, rectangle. Which picture is the rectangle one? Is it the A, the B, the C, or the D? In that way, we could assess the reading ability of the students. Okay. Next one. Nah, the previous one is the perceptive reading. As we can see, the types of the assessments is not too difficult, and it's quite sederhana apa ya? Sederhana, because it's for the usually for the beginner level. Nah, we move on to the selective reading. Selective reading. Nah, we could have the same method. Previously, we have multiple choices. In here, we also have multiple choices, but the complexity of the questions will be much harder. In here, directly using short sentences without any picture. He's not married. He is single. It's a normal multiple choices. Nah, but based on the book, it also provided example that another types of multiple choices. The previous one, it doesn't have any context. Just he's not married. He's what kind of context it is? This is just a sentence. In the book, they give us more example, the one with the context. For example, the context of people having a conversation. Do you like champagne? No, I can't. I can stand it. For example, now in this type of multiple choices, you have a context in what context that they having the question. In here, people having a conversation. And then this is a more complex multiple choices. So you have a one paragraph, and then you need to fill it in using multiple choices. For number 21, the A, is it scenes for journey? And then have a little context. It's telling a story about someone living in United States. And then he gave some information. Nah, and then he live in Costa Rica, etc. And then giving more context. Why the book explain it will be better to give context in the question or the multiple choices because it's more relatable or more closer to the real life situation. Because when we read something, usually it's not only one sentence, stop, and then the next sentence is not related to the previous sentence. No, usually the sentence between sentences have a connection. Nah, that's why the assessment should we should make the assessment as much as possible relatable or closer to the real life situation. That's why they have some improvement like this one. And then this one, if you remember the one that we did in advanced grammar, we did something like this, right? Without the multiplication, without the multiple choices. We have a couple of sentence and then some blank words, and then we have to fill it in. And then because it's connected to each other, the answer is changes. If only one sentence, the answer is only this. But because it's related to the previous sentence, the answer will be different. Just exactly the same, the one that we have in advanced grammar. Yang kita dimarah-marahin itu. Tapi kita belajar jadinya kan. Jadi berhubungan sama kata yang sebelum sama kalimat sebelumnya itu berhubungan. Jadi grammatically the answer will be different. Itu. Banyak juga ya. Write in the letter. Nah, this is matching task. Is it commonly used with us? So we have question: exhausted, disappointed, enthusiastic, emphatic. Nah, and then you have to match it with the words that similar or is the meaning of the word. Exhausted means tired, disappointed, unhappy, enthusiastic, excited. And then so the student have to read all of the words and then they match it which one that have similar meanings. Okay. Now the below one also the same thing actually, but in a form of a sentences. Okay, the next one, editing task. We also have this in advanced grammar. So you have sentences, and then you have to find out which word that you need to fix the grammatically. For number one, the abrasively, the A, B, C, which one that you have to which one that you have to correcting, dibenerin. That's editing task. Picture cue task. We in selective reading we also have the picture cue task. So you have some short sentences or paragraph explaining something, and then in the question it's in the form of picture. Now, for example, for this one, 3/4 of the year, and then the question asking how much is the no. Now, he's asking the question is asking the other way around. He asking the one quarter of it, the one that we can use the water. So the answer should be A, if I'm not mistaken. So the text, and then you have answer it in a picture. Okay, it's also the picture cue assessment. So you have in this example you have bicycle, and then you have some sentences, and you have to put number one. It's explaining which part of the bicycle. Is it the tires? Is it the handle? If the students can have a good reading ability, they could answer it very well. Of course, yeah, gitu. In a sentence, and then they have to put it which part of it explaining the sentence. Gap filling task. Okay, this one, if I'm not mistaken, this is some alternative if we other than multiple choices, because in the book say that to make multiple choices sometimes it takes times, and it's hard to make, if I'm not mistaken, because you have to make the choices also, right? You have to make a choices, and then the choices should be we thought it through first, because it should be similar, so it will be difficult for the students to answer it. This is the other alternative. So gap filling task, you have a question and then you have sentence, but the sentence is not finished, then the students have to finish it, the sentence. The disadvantage of this form is when you check the answer, because the answer could be very varied. You don't have only one answer correct. It could be more than one, because you can have a good grammatically and another vocabulary that makes sense to the sentences. Next one. This is the interactive reading. Closest task. Oh, this one. So you have a paragraph. You have paragraph, and then you take some of the words. Previously, you have the choices to choice, right? This is A, B, or C. But in here, you don't have the choices, so you have to fill it by yourself. There are two ways to take the word that you have to take. So the first rule is 7 words. So every 7 word, you take it. The recognition that one's feeling of, and that the number 1 is the 7 word, and then you take it. And then after another 7 word, you take it. Another 7 word, take it. That's the first rule. How to take the words. And the second rule is you take the words based on the things that you want to assess. For example, in the second rule, you want to assess the preposition, if I'm not mistaken. So you take off the preposition words in the paragraph. So there are 2 ways to take the words. Okay, the next one. Now, this is the become more complex. So you have several paragraphs, and then you have multiple choices, and then you answer it. The one that we saw a lot, actually. Nah, short answer task also. If you don't have the time to make the choices, we could have short answer task. You give the paragraph, the several paragraph before, and then you give this question to the students. But the answer should be in short sentences. Now, same like before, the disadvantage for this one is the answer could be very varied, or not only one correct answer. So it will be takes a longer time for us to check the answer of the students. So if the students are 40 or 50 or 100, I don't think this is gonna be the correct assessment that we have to choose. Okay. Editing longer text. It's same thing like before, but this is each sentences is connected to the previous sentences. For the previous example, one sentence is not connecting to the other sentence. So one sentence only done, one sentence done, one sentence done. But in here editing, from the first sentence and the last sentence is connecting. It's a story. So and then you have to take a look at the previous or the sentence after to make the correction. Okay. Scanning. Scanning is the strategy that we use. Yeah. So the students get a paragraph, and then the students have to scan the story or the text. Then they have to find the specific things that we ask, like the date, the name, what happened in this particular paragraph. Example. So scanning is for finding the specific things. That's for scanning. Nah, sequencing. Nah, in sequencing, so you give the students several sentences in a random order, and the students have to read it and then order it. Which one is the first sentence, and then until the last sentence. So the paragraph will create a correct story. In here, the tricky part that we have, you have to make sure that only one order that is correct answer. So there are no possibilities, or you have to make sure how many answer could be formed in this sequence. Jadi gini, jawabannya harus kita harus tahu semua jawabannya. Urutannya tuh D, J, E, F, A aja pada kemungkinan yang lain juga. Jadi kalau misalnya ada kemungkinan lain, kita harus tahu itu kemungkinannya apa aja. Jadi jangan, ternyata ada kemungkinan lain, ceritanya tuh masuk akal, tapi karena kita nggak cek, jadi kita salahin. Padahal sebenarnya jawaban tersebut tuh benar gitu. Cuma karena kita nggak cek, ada kemungkinan-kemungkinan lain, nah jadi kita nyalahin. Padahal kemampuan membacanya dia, murid tersebut tuh bagus sebenarnya. Cuma kitanya aja nggak tahu kalau ada kemungkinan jawaban yang lain. Ini that's the thing that we have to pay attention for the sequencing. Okay, for the information transfer, yeah, you have to read chart, maps, graphic, diagram, and then you have to answer some questions. So in here, you have to understand not only a text, but some of pictures, charts, maps, graphic, and then you have to understand it and to provide the answer.
Questions.
Okay, 5 minutes more. Sorry. Designing the last one, skimming. Skimming for the scanning kan, you finding specific things, but for skimming tasks, you have to skim the whole. What is the main idea of the text or the paragraph? So as a whole. Now, for scanning, it's for specific ideas, for specific things. But for the skimming task is for the whole story. Summarizing and responding, yeah, actually, yeah. Summarizing, you have text, paragraph, and then you have to summarize in 100 or 150 words. And then sometimes it will be difficult to score summarizing. Now, in here, in the book, they give some criteria for us to help us to score the summarizing. This one is for the responding. Yeah, you also have the criteria to help you to score the responding. Note taking, and finally, and then you have note taking, outlining. You get the idea. I think you get a book, you get a text, several paragraphs, and then you have to make note taking and then outlining. If they have a good note taking and outlining, it means they have a good reading ability. Okay, ini dia. This is the last one nih. Listening test and reading test with technology. As mentioned before from Miss Hannah in our first meeting, so the teaching and learning, teaching and learning are the first one developing with the technology. So the teaching and learning developing first, and then the assessment are following on behind. Yeah. That's it. For example, I want to give the example. So they have some questions using computer, and then they answer some questions, and then using the technology, if you get the correct answer, you will get same difficulties or greater difficulties. If you get the wrong answer, you will get same difficulty or lesser difficulty. So automatically providing us a question that is suitable for us. This is the advantages of technology. Easily administered, mudah digunakan, self-directing. So we don't have to do. We could say it's automatically. We don't have to. When the task is happening, we don't have to do a lot of things. It could be practice for the upcoming task. individualization with customized targeted task items. It means the one that I explained before. So automatically it's providing question that the students needs or suitable for him. It's automatically, so we don't have to choose the question ourselves. Which one? Yeah, the one is suitable for the students. Using technology, it's will be automatically the technology will provide the question that is necessary for the students. Large scales means a lot of students could take the test or the assessments simultaneously atau bersamaan. Nah, ini improve the last one, improve technology for automated essay evaluation and speech recognition. Yeah, so not only writing, the technology also help us in the speaking assessment or listening assessment. Okay, but there are also some disadvantages in.
You have 4 minutes without Q&A.
Sorry, Miss.
Okay, go ahead.
Disadvantages means.
I would like to ask.
You can post on the chat box or on the WhatsApp group, ma'am. So the presenters will respond.
Disadvantage. I will make it fast. So we have a little bit Q&A. Lack of security, yeah, because of technology, someone can hack it. The second one, sometimes you get mistaken. The one that official from the school or someone make their own assessment. That's the disadvantages. The third one, actually, I don't really understand. In multiple choices, there are some potential error, but I don't know what it is. Open-ended are less likely to use because it's hard to scoring if open-ended question. The human interactive is absent if using technology. This disadvantages is we cannot. There are no human connection. Yeah. Okay. Another disadvantages is we treating the assessment as only as a task, not preparing ourselves for the real world language use. Yeah, something like that. Okay, that's from me. This is our resources. Thank you. I'm
Thank
sorry
you.
it's so long.
Okay, we have 2 minutes, so I will give a time for Ibu Dini. Ibu Dini, to deliver the questions. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Ibu Dini?
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, Bu. Betul. Terima kasih, Bu Hana. I would like to ask group 2 and also need enrichment from Ibu Hana. Yeah, group 2, in order to make me understand, you just mix me up with your very long explanation. Itu aja, Ibu. Mau tanya kan tadi type of listening itu ada yang untuk beginners, kemudian semi beginners, advance gitu. Ada nggak ini Bu atau grup 2 jumlah yang cocok gitu? Kayak misalnya kalau untuk beginners itu berapa sih jumlah soal listening yang bisa diberikan? Kalau dalam sebuah tes misalnya dibagi-bagi listening, kemudian reading, writing, vocabulary seperti itu. Itu kira-kira ada nggak jumlah-jumlah yang diperbolehkan? Kan kalau misalnya di TOEFL test tuh Bu ya, 50 listening, kemudian 40 reading, vocabulary, dan vocabulary dan tenses, grammar, structure itu
Structure.
50. Tapi kalau di TOEIC 100 untuk listening, 100 untuk reading dan yang lain-lain. Itu ada nggak, Bu? Atau grup 2 sih? Karena ketika membuat soal, kadang kita guru harus juga memberikan time portion untuk setiap type of test yang kita buat. Itu aja sih, Bu. Terima kasih.
Can I give a response first? If group 2 want to add some another points, go ahead. But because ini saya have no more time actually, so this is the underlines, the foundations when we are a teacher and we are a task developer, in my opinion. Because Ibu Dini give a context if we are a teacher and then we want to develop a task. We teach, we test what we teach. Oke. Kita hanya akan mengetes, memberikan evaluasi apa yang sudah kita ajarkan. So this task development terikat dengan apa yang diajarkan dan apa tujuan dari tes itu. If it is the task to see, to examine the the students' competence on distinction sentence connectors, so the test will be about that, and the students already taught that items. Mereka harus diajarkan dulu kan, mereka sudah punya materinya, baru mereka dites. So test what we teach. We test what we teach. Okay, and then the other things that surrounding this task development is like the objective, the test objective, the learning objective, the school systems. I mean, berapa waktu yang kita punya, 1,5 jam, 2 jam, atau berapa sebenarnya? Itu sangat terikat pada proses task development. We will go discuss this task development ini di pertemuan sebelum UTS, task development by Bahman, bahwa there are a lot of things we need to consider during this task development, like students' proficiency, competence, the topic, the materials, characteristic of the students, characteristic of the topic, prior knowledge, and everything, including this micro and micro skills. Jadi ketika kita mau mengembangkan tesnya itu akan banyak hal yang harus kita pertimbangkan. But for teachers, that's the underline. We only test what we teach. Okay, that's my response. Grup 2 kalau mau Anda tambahkan silahkan. But for me, I'm very sorry. Saya minta maaf karena saya punya sesi yang lain di kelas yang lain. Kalau Anda mau lanjutkan, silakan dengan link Zoom ini. So saya akan leave. Jadi Anda bisa lanjutkan discussions-nya on this link. Is that okay? Kemudian tadi untuk more discussions saya sudah berikan di attendance. Itu Anda bisa meng-elaborate more tentang extensive reading ketika digabung dengan listening. Bisa integrated. Jadi ini bisa diintegrated. Tidak hanya receptive ya, sebenarnya yang lain juga reading, writing integrated itu juga ada. Jadi ini bentuk integrasinya dan sudah bercampur dengan teknologi. Okay, so this task with technology, and then you respond how is it suitable for this context. If it is not, what would it be? Jadi diskusinya bisa di through written. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for group 2 for a very long presentation. Mungkin next yang kelompoknya yang lain bisa dipersingkat, lebih singkat supaya banyak diskusi, dan kita juga sudah kepotong 15 menit untuk lunch and praying. See you again next week for group 3. Yeah, group 3. Have a nice day. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam
Terima
warahmatullahi
kasih Bu Hana.
Waalaikumsalam.
wabarakatuh. Waalaikumsalam. Terima
Itu nggak
kasih.
sempat nanya itu gambarnya gimana.
Ya gimana? Ibu
Bu Hananya
Hana
masih
mau
ada.
tinggal.